People always ask how I balance my family life with 400 shows a year. I'm just doing what I love with the people I love. It's my magic life.
I like Wes Iseli. I like everything about him.
All right, guys, we're back. And this week we have someone from the other side of the world. Yeah. We have Joel Howlett all the way from Australia. Joel, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Hi, Wes and Natalie. How you doing?
We're doing great, man. I feel horrible that you had to get up at 5 in the morning to do this interview. Thank you for doing this.
I did, but you know what? I've had my coffee and my 4-year-old daughter is asleep, so the house is quiet. It's probably the perfect time to do this.
Oh, there you go.
Our twins are running around. You might hear them squealing in the background. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 4 p.m. our time, so we're good. Everybody's wide awake here. We're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
Right.
So I found out about you because you were a fan of our podcast. You listened to our podcast, reached out. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I checked out your videos, and I'm like, heck, man, come on the podcast. Let's do it. So this is all about getting to know you, man. I want to get to know you today.
Well, thanks for having me. And yeah, I am a listener of your podcast. A year or so back when my friend J. Scott Berry was on it, that's when you popped up in my news feed. And I've been listening since then. And having a daughter that's a similar age to your twins and doing a similar volume of shows to what you guys do. You know, I load up the van with the doves and the big tricks and hit the road the way you do. I can relate to a lot of the stories.
That's awesome, man.
And I wanted to reach out and say thank you, first of all, because I really enjoy it. These long road trips, your podcast's a good thing to listen to.
Well, thank you. That's awesome.
Can you hear Natalie enough, though? She needs to speak up, correct? She needs to project a little bit more.
I can hear you. All good.
Okay, all right. Yeah. All right, so that was the first question Natalie had for me. Is he a full-timer? So you are full-time. How long have you been full-time?
For the past 2 decades, actually. As soon as I finished school, I went into this full-time. And this was no surprise to anyone because all the way through school, even primary school, of a weekend I'd be doing, you know, kids' parties, magic shows. Magic was kind of my thing. So to leave school and do it full-time didn't shock anyone. In fact, my folks were very supportive. They said, yeah, go for it.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really nice to have a support system like that really is like, go for it.
You didn't have those friends saying, are you still doing that magic thing? I had that till like last year. Do you still have that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I get people asking when I'm going to get a real job or if I'm ever going to grow up. You hear all those things. You bet.
Okay. All right. I was thinking it was just me.
Why would you have so much fun doing what you're doing? Why switch it up?
I just knocked your phone on the floor.
That was rude.
So, let's get started like we do in all these podcasts. You're a listener, you know. Tell me about your beginning, man. How did it all get started for you?
Very young, actually. At about 6 years old, I saw a magician and said, I want to be able to do that too. And my story is pretty similar to a lot of the people you've had on. I get the magic kit and the magic bug bites. And in 1997, I went on the NBN telethon. They were looking for acts to perform for free, but it was on TV. And then a few months later, I went on Hey Hey It's Saturday, which was a show in Australia that everyone watched. And after these couple of TV spots, people started to ask, could you do a show at the church fete? Or could you come to our community event? Or, you know, birthday party requests started coming in. So a lot of experience from very early on.
I just found about Hey Hey It's Saturday. I just found out about it because I posted a video of Amazing Jonathan on there because he met a girl from Australia and he was down there performing for a while. Yeah.
Nice.
A lot of magicians went on. It was a wonderful place to showcase magic. And as I say, everybody watched it. It was just a thing you did on Saturday night. And a lot of exposure very early on. And then...
we have Saturday Night Live in America. It was like a Saturday night prime time or after prime time, like 8 to 10. What was the time slot?
It was prime time. It was aimed at families and a real variety show. So music, comedy, skits, games, you know, people would come on and play Pluck a Duck, where you'd pick a duck off the stand and hope to get the winning number, and all sorts of things. It was a lot of fun.
Wow.
That's very cool.
I just now found out about it. Is it still on the air?
It is not still on the air, very sadly.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
But
But
anyway,
there's lots of hey clips are floating around. You'll find magicians popping up on Hey It's Saturday YouTube clips. Hopefully I'm not on there. It would be a bit embarrassing, but you might find me.
I want to find you. That's what I was going to ask. I want to find you. Have you found your clip on there?
No, I haven't seen it yet. No.
Okay. All right.
How old were you when you were on there?
7 years old.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
And part of this story, I wasn't sporty or academic. And when I started doing magic, people said, it's your thing. And I got encouragement. At about that time, I had epilepsy. And I was on a drug called Epilum, which controlled the seizures, but it made me like a zombie. And things at school like learning to tell the time and basic maths, it became such a challenge for me. But for some reason, I could do magic. And so, yeah, lots of reasons why I've stuck at it.
Wow. So how's the epileptic thing? Do you still have problems?
It's a strange thing. The doctors say I've grown out of it. I've not had a seizure for decades.
That's a wonderful thing, man.
Yeah.
God bless you. That's awesome, dude.
Mm.
Wow.
But with the struggles at school, it's just lucky I could do magic. And I had a very caring school teacher who let me every week get up for show and tell, we call it, where every child gets up and, you know, gives some news to the class. She let me do my magic each week. So that was a big deal.
Wow.
Oh, that's fun.
Wow.
Mm.
That's amazing. You are surrounded by a lot of people that just really encouraged you, and that's awesome. That's really awesome. Because, you know, you're used to hearing the story of, oh, I showed down, I don't want to see another card trick, I don't want to see another whatever. And so it doesn't sound like you had that. You had some good encouragement, and that's awesome.
Well, he had his first major television spot at 7 years old.
Yeah, right?
We'll let that kid get up and perform.
That is true.
Come on. That's awesome. That is awesome.
She was already a celebrity at 7. That's good.
But it can be hard, though, being that young for people booking shows to take you seriously, you know, as an act. But in fast forward to 2003, I performed in Vegas in the Stars of Tomorrow show for the SAM convention. It was Andy Dallas who extended an invitation. And when I came back home to Australia, people took me seriously then. I wasn't a kid doing tricks anymore. I'd performed in Vegas. So there was a credibility that made the booking agents and event planners sort of take notice.
Wow. What room was it in Vegas? Do you know what room it was?
The Riviera Casino.
Okay, there you go.
Which is no longer there. But you'll enjoy this bit of trivia. I jotted down who the other acts on the show were. And it was Matt Franco.
Oh.
He was on the show. Paige, she's now Paige Thompson.
Okay.
Yeah. Eli Patella and Mandy Reid. And all of these people who are on this Stars of Tomorrow show have stuck with magic and all doing it at a high level, which is just amazing.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to go in 22. I guess it was 22 to this SAM convention in Vegas.
Yeah.
And saw the Stars of Tomorrow. And they posted on YouTube, and I brought it home and showed my wife and daughter. I said, guys, watch these kids. It's pretty awesome. It's amazing to see these kids with these professional acts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not like a regular club show, that's for sure. I mean, they take it serious. So you did the Vegas thing. You were still young, though, 2003. How old were you then? After you had Vegas under your belt as well as national television exposure.
13, a young adult.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Wow. So then you just started taking off.
Yes, yeah, and I'm so happy. I still feel so lucky. You know, every show I really enjoy it. And I realised this in the pandemic situation when I couldn't perform for so long. I really missed it, and I was going slightly nuts. So, yeah.
Did you do the virtual stuff as well?
I didn't. I tried a few, and I got encouragement from people to do it, give it a go, but I didn't feel great about them. The audience was literally muted, so there was no response. Yeah. And the IT part is not one of my skills either. So
yeah.
It did feel like rehearsal, and it just needing that audience response and hearing it and feeling it is so important. And that it was not the same. We didn't do very many.
No.
We did some here and there, but not very many.
We started the podcast and we sold our television show. And we had savings. So that's what we lived on.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
That's what helped us. So, 13 years old, would you consider yourself pro at this point? Were you doing kids' birthday parties on the weekends? What did you jump into?
Absolutely. Yeah, part-time pro, I guess, is what they say, isn't it? Because I was still going through school and doing it, of a weekend.
What were you doing, kids' birthday parties at that point? Or was it more than that?
More than that. I'd get a nice variety of things. Yeah.
Okay. Dude, that's awesome. Looking at your website, I was checking out your Facebook today and just going through and just scrolling through pictures. Weddings and theaters look like the majority of the stuff that you're doing. You know, weddings in America, I've only done maybe a little bit more than a handful with Natalie since we've been together. It's just not the same here unless you really, really try to market to them. And I still don't know of any full-time wedding magicians in America. It's not like it is over in Europe and maybe Australia. Is it real big in Australia as well?
It's not real big, no. It sometimes takes people seeing you at a wedding for the word-of-mouth thing to pick up. It is big in the UK. I know there's guys that specialise in weddings there, and it's just a given. When you have your wedding, you look for an entertainer, and it's probably a magician. But I've been able to convince people that it's a great idea that while the couple are off getting their photos and the guests are just left milling around, that's the perfect time for the close-up walk-around magic stuff. I say, don't worry, I'll keep people happy while you're off getting your photos. And then the couple come back and they're the star again and I leave. So, you don't take the spotlight away from the couple, but I just fill in that time and help them out while they're away.
But it also helps, they're sitting at tables. They don't know these other people. It helps bring the tables together. They experience something together, and then they can talk about that, and they have something in common. Yeah. It's so great. It's so awesome. But, yeah, it's just one of those things here. Yeah.
And that really happens. That's not just on the promo. We really do bring people who don't know each other together. It's an icebreaker. It gets them chatting. How do you do that or whatever? And sometimes I get to stay and be the MC for the night. If the couple have trouble picking a family member who's going to be, articulate and able to present well, they'll say, stay for the night and make the housekeeping announcements, which is really good because I get a feed. They count me in the meals.
There you go. So you also do a lot of theater work. Are you renting out the theaters, or is it just different things, or do you have a place that you go to all the time? I couldn't tell. It looked like different venues, but I wasn't sure.
What I try and do whenever possible is have the theatre book me and receive a flat rate for the show, and then they take care of the ticket sales, because I don't really want to take that gamble a lot of the time the way the Fringe Festival shows might, where you've got to split the door and hope to promote it yourself and get people in there. To be helpful, I do list those things on my Facebook page, but it's up to the venue to try and bring the audience in, which is really comfortable, a nice arrangement.
Yeah, I mean, they can make more money off of you, and you have no gamble, but they can make more money off of you. We totally do the same thing. It's easier. Some of these venues is, I don't know, $5,000, $10,000 for the night to rent the venue before the first ticket sold.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have no skin in the game. They don't care if you sell tickets or not. It's just another
and
night.
most of them, you rent it, they don't help you sell tickets. They're like, you rented it, it's all yours. There you go. Have at it. And you're like, oh my gosh. So yeah, that's scary. So we do the same thing. They either pay us to come out. We have done ticket split before though, and it's worked out well because we can help promote as well and get the word out. So.
And when you do ticket split, they have skin in the game. They help promote.
Yeah. And how long does your theatre show go, please?
Hour and a half with a 15-minute intermission. So we do 45 minutes, take a 15-minute, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter.
It's up to the venue. I always tell the venue, hey, tell us when you're about 3 to 5 minutes out of wanting to start the second half of the show. Because if they're selling concessions and it's going really well, keep going. I mean, as long as it doesn't last 30 minutes, because then people are going to be like, what the heck?
We have had an intermission go 30, 40 minutes before.
We had to go to the people and be like, can we start now? Because, you know, they were like, we have a line. Like, sell it after.
Yeah, they were selling food. They didn't want to stop selling food and snacks and drinks. And
So that's a little crazy. But, you know, 15 to 20-ish minutes is usually how long the intermission is. And then we have another about 30 minutes that we do on the other side of the...
But we did a venue called Smoke and Mirrors Theater in Pennsylvania recently. And we had to do, a 90-minute show?
Yeah,
90 minutes
almost.
Straight with no illusions.
Yeah.
And we were like, all right, we can do it. We can do it. And we were like, can we do it? We can do it. We can do it. And then she was like, breaks the set list. She's like, no, this is plenty. I'm like, okay, I trust you.
Yeah. We have plenty to do 90 minutes. Yeah.
So
yeah, it's fun.
One of the things that happened to me, it was a happy accident, I guess. One of my resorts that I've been working since 2003, I thought the way the timeshare resorts worked was 90% of the audience came back year after year because they bought a timeshare. It doesn't work like that. They can go to any venue they want that's under the timeshare umbrella. So it's only 10% of the people come back to that same vacation spot every year. So every year for 15 years, I was changing my show 80%. I created a whole new show every year because I thought these were... I could have been doing the same show the whole time. Who knew? But that was awesome because then I had this new show that I could take around every year. And now we have 20 years of magic we can pull from. Yeah.
That's a huge repertoire, and to have changed it that frequently, that's amazing. I'm blown away when you hear about people like Paul Daniels who had long television runs and they had to come up with new material every week. Isn't it amazing?
Not all of it we hit out of the park, but it was awesome. Some of it was just a little trinket toy out of a little magic box, out of a magic kit that he made bigger. But yeah, Paul Daniels, awesome. And I can't believe he did a run that long. That's just, yeah.
I know he had a lot of consultants and help, but I mean, to learn a magic trick and present it that week on live television, that's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's also a blessing and a curse. You have a television show, but oh my gosh. I mean, I'm talking to Penn and Teller all the time, and they're always coming up with new stuff because they have to have, I think, 22 episodes this year for Fool Us, and they're closing out the show with new stuff. So they're putting it in their Vegas run, doing it 15, 20, 30 times before they put it on television, and then it's in the vault again because they're working on the next trick to put in the show. It's just constant, man.
That's so sensible to be running things in, though, like that, putting it in between strong material you already know, adding a new piece that way.
Well, also, they have a place where they know the venue. They know their stage inside and out. Where we are going to, like you, we're going to county fairs. We're going to this theater, this little box theater. I might be surrounded. My angles might be different here. To try out new material, those places is kind of tough. So you want to work it in somewhere you know, and then you can take it on the road because then you know all the areas that you need to angle this way when you do that trick this way, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, so I saw on there that you were like introducing your new assistant on Facebook. Are you married? Do you have a wife that can jump in and out of boxes?
I have a partner, Renee. She is my daughter Mia's mum, and she doesn't want to be in the show at all. She's a nurse. So yeah, my assistant Mia, who's helped me out with the last few shows, is not my daughter, another Mia. She is different. She performs the show with me. She's a dancer who she's amazing. She's a great performer in her own right. She's performed in America and dance shows all over, and she was good enough to help me and participate in the show.
So what I worry about with that is like scheduling. So how's the scheduling going? Are you able to give her enough time to get everything together? Or is it just one of those things where I might have another Mia next year?
Look, the couple she's done with me so far, I've said, I've got this date, are you available? And then in the lead up to that, we've rehearsed the illusions a few times prior to the show. She's driven to my home in Newcastle, and we've practiced them here. As we were saying about learning new material, I find it very difficult to get slick with the illusions because I'm doing them so infrequently. The small stuff that I do, I can almost do it in my sleep. It happens automatically. It's choreographed like a dance, and it all just happens. But the illusions, I find them a challenge, a good challenge, but I've got to stop and think, well, how does this go? Because I'm not doing them as much.
Yeah.
Well, we got to get those theater shows. We got to get more theaters. That's why you're on here.
Yeah.
So you're available for theaters. Booking for a theater.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny about the illusions because, I mean, we do quite a few. When we do metamorphosis, if I try to explain to a new person, would you be able to explain to somebody what I do?
I don't know what you do. I know what I do.
I don't know what she does. And I watch the video when I'm in a box and she's putting tubes. I'm like, I didn't know you smiled at that point and did that at that point. I have to watch video to see.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. And then for you to teach a new person and to get slick with it, to be comfortable with it, do it infrequently. Man, that's a challenge, man. God bless you. Yeah. Wow.
It's I like to add the wow factor and have some big things and make the show look a little bit more grand than what you'd see at a birthday party or something. Right. But at the same time, listening to the response, I understand that the public like the small things. The sleight of hand stuff gets the best reaction sometimes.
We talked to Rick Thomas years ago, 2008 maybe, and I asked him, 2006. Wow. And we were just a newlywed couple, and we are like, hey, you have all these illusions. What would you recommend doing? And I'll never forget it. He was like, don't overwhelm yourself buying all kinds of illusions because you're not going to use them all. You can take that illusion that you put in the show 2 years ago, put it back in the show. It's brand new to these people. You'll end up with a warehouse full of stuff that you're not using. If you buy illusions and you become illusionists, get one a year. That's plenty, more than enough. And, I mean, boy, we even bought a projector and a projection screen to do close-up magic, and we counted that as our illusion 1 year because, I mean, close-up stuff on camera just blows people away.
Yeah.
They don't get to see that in a big theater show.
Right.
Absolutely. And by the way, what a lovely man. Rick Thomas was in Australia in January. He was at the State Theatre, Sydney, and I had a little bit to do with it because I loaned him the birds that he used in his opening. They were my doves. And, such a lovely man. He made time to speak to everyone after the show, and everyone came away from that performance, inspired, moved, happy. Just wonderful. So, yeah. Thank you, and a shout out to Rick Thomas. Amazing.
Yeah, he's awesome. We can't say enough nice things about Rick. We love Rick.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's genuinely nice. It's not just putting on airs.
So I know you use doves. Have you ever borrowed someone else's doves for any reason, for any occasion?
I haven't, no. I'd be very scared of that. Actually, I'm sorry. I have once. Yes, once in New Zealand from Greg Britt. And he loaned me a bird for a show, and it was okay because Greg does a lot of school shows every week, and he's using and handling this dove, and I felt comfortable and confident that it wasn't going to take off because it had been serving Greg well for so long. But that was the one occasion. Other than that, I've loaned a lot of doves, even to James Demere, because the World Festival of Magic would come to Australia every year. And the dove acts couldn't bring their birds because of the quarantine rules. Yeah. So I have loaned a lot of doves and people have been happy with mine, but I haven't really, the other side of the coin, made a habit of borrowing them.
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. I'd be so happy if my doves had worked for James Demere and Rick Thomas. That'd be awesome. That'd be like, they'd have name plaques in their little cages. So I'm just going down the list here. I got all kinds of questions for you. So your little girl, her name is Mia as well?
No.
Yes.
Oh, it
His
is?
assistant and his daughter's named Mia.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So how old
Two
is she?
different Mias. Yep.
So how old is she?
She is 4.
4 years old.
Yep.
Aw.
I saw a picture of her with a clown nose, and I saw a picture of her pretending to do a magic trick, because it's a picture. Does she do any magic?
She's a character. I've said to her, do you want to, come along to the shows and be my assistant? And she was horrified. She said, no, I want to be the magician.
Oh, sweet. That's
Nice.
awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
So are you going to put her in the act?
If she wants to, I'll just wait and see what happens. If she's got an interest in magic, she can join me and I'll encourage her. If she's got an interest in something else, that'll be fine too. I'll just go with the flow. See what happens.
Well, our kids, as long as they're with us, they have to go to the show. But if they get frumpy or something, you probably heard us say on the podcast, they don't have to be on that stage.
You don't have to be
Yeah.
They have to come with us,
Yeah.
but they don't have to be on that stage. I don't want a frumpy kid on stage.
They can stay backstage the whole time, but we love it that so far everybody's enjoying being in the show so far. Nobody wants to give up their parts, but you never know, because Lana's 12. She's getting to that teenage years. I'm hoping she'll continue, but it's not something that we're gonna force. So if she's just miserable out there, and then it's like, okay, well then just you don't have a choice. You have to come with us, because that's the whole point. We want to see you, but you can just hang backstage.
We did a school show back when she was like 3 years old, and she really wasn't feeling good. She was literally sick.
Yeah.
And all she did was say abracadabra, and I turned doves into a rabbit, whatever. She didn't do anything, but she's on stage doing her thing, right?
Mhm.
And you want to come out? No, I don't feel good. Okay. Hey, little boy, my little girl, she's backstage. She's missing her part. Come here, Tommy. Your name's Tommy. Just say abracadabra. And I don't know why I even had another kid do it, but I did. And he said abracadabra. Tommy got the round of applause. Tommy did that. She hasn't missed a mark since she was 2.5. She hated that another kid took her spot. She hated it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I saw on your Facebook, he has a lettered van. It's red,
Oh, sweet.
and it's all lettered up. I love it, but your steering wheel is on the wrong side of the car.
Is that what's been giving me the trouble? I see.
Yeah.
I don't like to be noticed. My van is all sign written, rabbit in a hat painted on the side. It's a good advertisement. It's a moving billboard, but you got to be real nice to people in the traffic, because they know exactly who it was that cut them off. And I also get, when I pull up at traffic lights, funny guys that lean out the window and do this at me.
Yeah.
And I got to laugh like it's the first time someone's ever thought of it, and go, "Oh, good one," be polite to them. But
So
that's the only downside, the sign writing.
other things though, because our van and trailer's lettered. When you break down, aren't you a magician? Can't you fix it? That's
Oh, yeah.
Or the tow truck driver. Well, you're the magician. What am I doing here? You fix it.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. I'm broke down. Come on.
Yeah.
But you have to smile. You have to smile. You don't want to be known as the mean magician. So you have to smile like,
I have got phone calls
Right.
going down the road because my number's on the thing.
Mhm.
Are you
Yeah.
the magician in front of me? Hey, that's awesome. Hey, nice to meet you. But sometimes they say, hey, look, we're having a company party. Or are you available this day? I don't know. And I passed the phone to Natalie.
Yeah.
We've got phone calls going down. It's a literal billboard, man.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Absolutely, yeah, it works that way. And also driving into loading docks and parking backstage, I'm less likely to get a ticket because they know, oh, he's part of the show. He's allowed to be, in that parking space.
Right.
I did have a situation, though, where there's an area where the police breath test you. You drive past and blow into the thing, check you. Well, they pulled me over, and the officer said, oh, I'll let you go on one condition. Oh, what's that? I was panicked. And he said, you'll show me a magic trick, because he'd read the sign writing. And I said, yeah, absolutely. And I carry the rubber bands with me all the time, and I did the rubber band trick for him. And he was amazed. And he called all the other officers over. So they left what they were doing. Cars were zooming past, and they were all gathered around my van watching me do this thing with the rubber bands. And although they were having fun, it was a terrible advertisement for me to have all these police surrounding my van. No one driving past would have known what was going on. They would have thought I was a troublemaker, whatever.
Funny.
I was doing a resort, West Virginia, and I was lost. And they gave us, the hotel at the resort was booked. So they told us to stay at some, like, what do they call them? The
motel that's down the road.
Whatever. But it was off a beaten path through the trees. So I'm literally going 10 miles an hour down the road on a 55-mile-an-hour road, but it's like 11:30 at night. And I'm driving real slow, and the cops pull me over thinking I'm drunk or high or something because I'm driving so slow. And the same thing happened, man. I'm doing magic behind the car. They pull me over. I'm like, no, my turnoff is somewhere around here. It's just in the woods. So they showed me. I invited them all to the show the next day. But I like showing it to their camera so they can watch it later on. You know, in America, they have the cameras. Do they have that over in Australia?
I'm sure they do, yeah.
I make sure it's on camera so they can watch the footage later. Yeah, it's awesome, man. I love it. I love it. So why is it JD's World of Magic instead of your name? Why is everything under that umbrella? How did that start?
It started because before Hey Hey It's Saturday and the telethon appearances, I'd run out of relatives to show my magic tricks to, and I went busking in the local mall. And you could do that then without a permit. This was early 90s. So my dad said to me, oh, this is a bit dangerous. Someone your age shouldn't be giving out your name and contact details to strangers. Why don't you use your initials? If someone asks, who are you, just say, I'm JD. And I've stuck with it.
Okay, all right.
That makes sense.
I thought it might be, like, mine's Party Magic because, hey, I was doing magic for parties, and I thought it sounded great. And then I saw Party Magic everywhere, books and everything. I thought of it, but I didn't. It's everywhere else, too. But, yeah, it's hard because that's our company name. And then we do county fairs and things. Okay, guys, up next is Party Magic. Guys, no, that's not, no, that's a company name. But, yeah. So, also, I saw pictures of you with puppets, different types of shows with puppets. Are you a ventriloquist, or is it the other kind of puppetry where you're actually moving your lips and talking?
You've done your homework. You've really checked out this Facebook page.
Oh, this thing, man. Yes.
Wow. Again, the puppets happen by accident. I live in New South Wales, Australia, and we can't take live rabbits to Queensland. It's just a law. The farming community won't allow them there. There's irresponsible people that will let their rabbits out and they'll damage all the crops and what have you. So I had this run of shows in Queensland, and the rabbit was the big finale to the family show. I couldn't take him, so I used a puppet, and it stayed in the show because people like it so much. I'm a reasonable ventriloquist, but a lot of the time the puppet will whisper in my ear and I'll repeat to the audience exactly what he says, and that's how I get around it.
That's the best game of telephone ever because you can't mess it up.
Yeah. There you go.
So another thing that I was really interested, because I've never really done it, is a full Christmas show. And I'm scrolling through your Facebook and I'm looking at this stuff. You have full evening Christmas shows. Is it 100% Christmas, or is it like I'll sprinkle a little Santa something in there? How is yours? It's
an adapted Christmas show. It's got a festive backdrop. It's got Christmas music that I perform to. It is not religious at all. Even people who don't celebrate Christmas come along and enjoy it. It's just a festive show that makes people happy. You know, red and green decorations on the stage. The silks will be red and green. So it is themed for the holidays, but not too different to a regular magic show.
Okay, all right. Because I know some people that do it, you know, top to bottom, everything Santa related or elf related or reindeer related. And I was like, man, I've never done a show like that before. But the way you had designed yours, I thought it was top to bottom the Nutcracker musical. I mean, it looked very
good.
Yeah, it looked really good. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, the puppet, for example, that you mentioned before, I'll swap my regular puppet for Santa Claus. You know, a little Santa puppet, but the routine's similar.
Yeah.
So we have magician and non-magician listeners. What puppet routines are you doing? Is it a magic trick involved?
There is a magic trick involved, yep. Like the punchline to a joke. There's a magic trick that he ends up doing at the end, which I may post that one day, so I won't give it away just yet. But,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. No, you're good. So tell me about magic over in Australia. I'm so bad. I didn't know New Zealand was in Australia. I thought New Zealand was somewhere in Europe. What did you think? Did you know New Zealand is...
I'm not good at geography, but I think I knew.
You knew it was in Australia?
I don't know. It sounds
No. New Zealand's a different country. Australia and New Zealand are separate.
That is true. We did. We looked in the map in school.
Go ahead.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, it's like another little island, right? Isn't it an island? Off
It
the-
is, yeah.
But it's
Okay.
close to Australia.
Well, I mean, it's that far from the map. How far
I
is that?
thought it was near England.
No.
I thought it was near Greenland,
No.
Iceland.
Yeah. No.
It's a flight of about 3 hours from Australia to New Zealand, and it's another country. Yeah.
I am horrible. I'll put her in the same umbrella. We went to Vegas, and we're like, what are we passing over? We don't even know America. So it's awful. It's awful.
Geography was not, and still is not my strong point. My daughter's like, where is that on the map? I'm like, let's look it up because I have no idea. So yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, how the heck did we get on that? Okay,
I don't
so
know.
Australian magic. Tell me about Australian magic, because in my world, we look up to the Magic Castle and things that are going on in New York and L.A. and Chicago has a big hot spot. And, we're just trying to, I'll look at some stuff from Europe, but I don't know anything about Australian magic, except that Houdini famously flew an airplane over there. He was the first one to fly an airplane in Australia. Other than that, who did you look up to? Yeah, who did you look up to growing up?
There's a magic community in Australia, and a pretty good one. There are older mentor figures that I've looked up to. I'll mention two here quickly. Jim McKeague lived in far north Queensland in the Atherton Tablelands, way up past Cairns. He was someone who would advise me. We'd speak very regularly on the phone. He was a dear friend and someone who I miss. Another friend and mentor figure was Connie Rooklin, whose husband was Maury Rooklin, who won awards at FISM for his billiard ball manipulations. She lived pretty close to me, actually, and she'd see me perform a lot and offer little bits of advice. There was one show I remember that she came to and she sat right at the front and was like this all the way through. And at the end of the show, I went and had a chat to her and thought, I better face the music. And I said, Connie, what did you think? She said, I didn't like it. Your shoes were filthy. So now I put on patent leather shoes before the performances and I think of Connie, So there's magicians that have been very kind and offered bits of advice, and there's a community of us in Australia. Perhaps Melbourne has the best of the magic communities. There's a magician called Tim Ellis there who runs a Melbourne Magic Festival, and he brings people from all over together to do not really a magic convention, but sort of like a comedy festival, but with magicians, a magic festival where the public come and watch the shows. He still has lectures and things while people are in town for the magicians, but he aims it at the public, and it works really well.
So the only names, I don't count J. Scott Berry as Australian because I know him from America. He's new to you guys, right? 20 years maybe down there. I don't know. But Tim Ellis, Helen Coghlan, only because of Fool Us, and Cosentino.
That's right. Yep.
Is he still performing? Is he still a name?
Yes, he did very well on Australia's Got Talent. He didn't win the show, but he came second, and it led to further TV spots and theatre shows for him. Very dynamic. He had a perfect look for TV. He did The Big Escapes and combined his magic with breakdancing, and very cool and modern, really hip sort of look.
So it seemed to me like he was like Chris Angel a little bit, like that kind of look. Was he going after that, or was it the same time period after that?
Yeah, but with a Michael Jackson sort of dancing around what he did. Yeah, very, very cool.
That's different.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And by the way, we'll claim J. Scott Berry as an Australian. He's wonderful. He actually performed at my 21st birthday party. He came and did magic, and yeah, he's shared a lot of his magic with me, and I've returned the favour by when he first moved to the country, introducing him to people who book shows, and it's been a lovely friendship there.
Jay's a great guy. I really do like him, man. Yeah, and Fizz a winner. Come on.
Yeah.
So what else is going on? What do you look for in the future? What else you got going on?
Just happy to keep the ball rolling. You know, when the theatre show finished these school holidays, I'm already working on the next one. You know, there's maybe a bit of OCD here because I go home and think, what got a laugh, what didn't, what worked well, what didn't. And I've got the next run in October where I'm, you know, planning new stuff for then. So there's always something happening.
So
no big goal or anything. That I'll just see how things go with the flow.
Are you doing a theater run? So you're doing like a couple week period there, a couple month period, or a month long period?
Not necessarily in the same venue at different places. Yeah.
I got you.
Which I think is why it works, because I'll do a one-off show and I'm not there too frequently. So there's a sort of, oh, buy your ticket, he's here, he's back. I think if I was at one place for an extended length of time, it might get tough.
Yeah, it's hard to keep. I think it's hard to keep the newness of the come see a show, come see my show, come see me. You're promoting yourself constantly, and the same venue, the same place. I think it would get hard. Like, I have a publicist that helps promote us, and I like that because her wording and her pictures and the things she chooses and the things she says,
Different.
it's not the same thing that I would do all the time, and it really helps. It really helps. So, man, I can't imagine. Have you ever tried to create magic? Do you come up with your own stuff?
Hopefully, each thing, even the classic stuff, I can make my own by picking the right music, the right things to say. So the show looks like me and fits me, but I can't claim to have come up with some wildly new method to magic tricks.
That's all right. I mean, I think of Matt King. I don't know that he's invented anything, but boy, amazing. Mm-hmm. I love him to death. Yeah. I was just wondering if, like, you know, close-up magic, or you come up with something or marketed something or had something. Do you do lectures?
I have done, yes. At a New Zealand convention several years ago, they said, we'd like to book you. We'll have you do your stage show and we'll have you do your lecture. And I didn't have a lecture, but I wanted the gig. So I said, yes, of course, I'll bring my lecture. And they said, oh, a couple of hours, is that long enough? Oh, yeah, okay, a couple of hours. I put some things together and survived it, and it went well. And then the people in Australia heard about it, and there was good word of mouth. So I ended up doing several more around Australia. But lecturing wasn't a goal. It was just sort of something that by accident happened. But may I ask you about the way you create things? Because you've come up with new methods and magical effects. How does that come about?
It's you got A over here and B over here, and you create C. That's all it is. And sometimes it is out of necessity because of the angle is bad. Here's one you'll like, and I can tell the world without revealing a secret. We did. She was pregnant. We even had code words for when she was going to, if her water broke on stage, because we were performing up until, that's what we do for a living. And I think it was spaghetti, because there's no reason for her to say spaghetti ever during our show. So that was the code word, spaghetti.
Okay.
And
all right.
I had to cut the show because her water's broke. We had to go. Yeah. But we were doing illusions. And the way the resorts work, I had a 14-week contract to do the resorts. I don't want to change out illusions mid-contract. I want them to see the same show at the beginning of the contract and the end. But she's not going to fit by the end of this contract.
Yeah.
Okay. We did a mailbag escape. How does a pregnant lady do a mailbag escape? We turned a mailbag escape into a metamorphosis And the audience counted down 30 seconds because she's on her knees. It took her a little bit to get up fully pregnant. And we were always out with 10 seconds to spare. The switch took place completely in 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But it was a metamorphosis. Now I'm in the bag, locked up and everything, and she's out of the bag. It was awesome. I think it was backwards. She locked me in.
Yeah.
Because I had to help her up behind the curtain.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I'm in the bag, and then she has to undo everything after the music ends. But having, it was Mission Impossible music. Dun, 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 dun. And the audience is counting down 30 seconds. They really got into it. It was really pumping. The energy was there, even for a pregnant lady that had helped her off her knees.
Yeah.
It looked like an amazing trick.
Yeah.
You're a trooper, Natalie. That's unbelievable. Wow.
Well, thank you. I just don't know any different. Who?
Yeah.
What's maternity leave? What is that? I don't know.
There's no maternity leave.
Yeah.
With our little girl, I mean, we had to perform 4 days later.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because 28th, and we had New Year's Eve, and then with the boys, it was during COVID, but she had a week off.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a whole week.
What week?
Yeah, there's 2 of them. So.
I gave her extra time. No,
amazing.
So I had never seen a metamorphosis version of Mailbag.
Yeah.
I just came up with that, and I thought that'll work because the Mailbag is huge anyway. It's a big sack, so it was great. I was very proud of that.
Yeah.
I was very proud of that. But it was
that fit 3.
What's that?
A big bag that fit 3. You're pregnant with twins. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It needed to. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
At the holiday parks, Wes, do the people who book to stay there get an invitation to the show, or do they have to buy a ticket, or what happens?
Depends.
Okay.
So, like the one that we do, the Massanutten is a ski resort, and we're just on my mind because we're going to be there on Thursday. They blast it out to everybody. Everybody's invited, but they do charge. So you show up to the door and you buy a ticket. So it's it's up to the resort. Some resorts do it where and all resorts I think send out a blast and say, hey, there's a magic show. But it depends on the resort. Some resorts are like, it's free. Just come and watch the magic show. And others sell tickets so they can try and make back some of what we charge them. It all depends on the resort.
But I've been working at resorts for 20 years, and we have a handful of different resorts we work at. And I'm pulling the management aside and saying, how are things? Not the same since COVID.
Yeah.
One of our major resorts let us go this year, which was a $20,000 loss.
Oh,
and
dear.
they were ones that didn't charge, but we got paid good. And we sold magic at the show, and I also taught a magic class, which was free to them, but I charged so I stayed after for an hour teaching salt shaker through table, 2-card Monte, stuff for kids and adults, so all ages can do these tricks. Mm-hmm. And it's just extra money. It's good, and it's an hour-long class.
But all their personnel turned over in 2020.
They don't have.
And so then they didn't know how to advertise the show. They didn't know how, and it just so you could kind of see the writing on the wall that it was coming because it wasn't like it was.
Catering department has the rooms because you have to rent the ballroom from caterers. But the activity department hired me, and they forgot to talk to the catering department. So
dear.
Okay. Room. Sometimes we didn't have a room. Sometimes we were in a ballroom. Sometimes we were in a meeting room. Sometimes we were outside because they forgot to rent the room.
It got very chaotic after 2020 with them. So it was just, you kind of were like, how much longer is this going to last? So, and then it didn't. But that's, it happens. And maybe one day we'll go back. Who knows? But, yeah. So.
New opportunity. Find somewhere new. New opportunities. You'll find somewhere new. You keep smiling. Yeah.
No, yeah. You just keep your head up. You just keep smiling. That's all you can do, man. And,
absolutely.
That place was 4.5 hours away. It was always a rough weekend for us because we did close-up magic on Friday night. Then we did our show 2 o'clock on Saturday. And then I taught the classes. And then by the time we packed up, we weren't home until 2 in the morning the following day.
Right.
Yep.
It was long.
And the babies never slept there. Lana never slept there. We've been working there since 2013.
That place was cursed. The kids just didn't want to sleep there. I don't know what it was. I really don't.
But I loved it because it was on the bay. It was beautiful.
It was.
The people, back of the room sales were amazing. So I loved it. I loved everything about it. But it was a hard weekend. It was work.
Yeah.
It was work.
Yeah.
Do you do that? You call them holiday things, vacation resort. Do you do anything like that?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like to the same scale that you guys do, but we've got a caravan park where people come and park all around on the grounds, and then there's a big community room where they'll put on activities like a magic show. And I've done those, and often the park management really undersell it. They'll say, oh, free magic show for the kids, and the families come along and watch it. And on the way out, they're thrilled, and the parents are saying, oh, I wasn't expecting it to be good, and you don't know how to take that. And they're just so excited that there's a world-class show there. They come expecting it to be like maybe a babysitting thing, free magic for the kids. And they come out really excited. So I don't know. I think the expectations at the one I've done have been low, and then it's been really fun to see them, blown away by what happens.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've learned over the years, I send out posters ahead of time of me coming, because they'll put up a poster with the worst clip art bunny rabbit.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So send out your own poster. But here's the thing, because I have a marketing degree. It's got my website on it. It's got my stuff. They can Google me and look me up before the show. Here's another thing. At the resorts or libraries or whatever, my poster will be up for 2 weeks, a month. I'm advertising I'm not there. Some people have booked me for shows. Well, if you're good enough for that theater, I want to hire you for our company party. They never saw me at the theater. It was just a clip art bunny rabbit saying free magic show Sunday night. They wouldn't have got that. So that's something.
Excellent advice. Thank you. And even before this podcast, I sent you the promo photos for letting people know it was coming up. But this park just didn't use them. I sent them along, and they found their own clip art picture of a clown and put it up. Free magic.
You can only do so much. You can only do what you can do, and then some people just...
You try to help them.
And
then you get the people that say, the event just isn't pulling people like it used to. When Wanda ran this before me, it was packed. I don't know what's going on different. Yeah, that. I can help you. Yeah, but they don't want to hear us.
But back to your question you asked a while ago about magic in Australia, I think a positive thing that's happened in recent years is, rather than being seen as just birthday party entertainment or a clown or whatever, people are looking at magic in a much more positive light. Certainly since the Australia's Got Talent, America's Got Talent, Penn and Teller's helped, I'm sure, fool us. Magic's really become popular again and looked at as an entertainment for adults as well as kids. I've noticed that happening. There's a lot more good magic being shared.
That is so great.
That is.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
A funny story I want to tell you. Talk about Fool Us. I did a 60th birthday party for a guy, and his he loved Fool Us. So the daughter hired me because I've been on Fool Us and everything, and they booked a cameo from Penn Jillette.
Wow.
And, happy birthday, Joel, 60 years old. I remember 9 years ago when I was 60 years old. You're just a young buck. And he's talking to Joel doing all this. And he said, and here I see you're going to have Wes Iseli coming up next. Wes Iseli not only fooled us, but we bought his trick and da-da-da-da-da. And then he went on about me for the next 3 minutes. I'm like, that's the best intro I could ever. They even sent me the tape of it. I got to find that again. I'll put it on Patreon for everybody.
There you go.
But what an opener. I had Penn Jillette open for me at a birthday party.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah.
But that was all because of Fool Us, because it wasn't that I was on Fool Us. That guy was a fan of Fool Us. And they happened to hire somebody that had been on the show. So that was really neat.
Yeah.
People who watch that show are now understanding that not all magicians are the same. And it really is an art.
It really is. And when I went there, I'm looking over here because I got a wall of all my memorabilia from Fool Us. But the badge says artist on it. And you're like, oh, that's a little, pretentious? But no, it really is. We really are. We're creating something. We're doing something. It's, like you said, you haven't created anything, but you make it your own. You know, and that is the main thing. Because, you know, I worked at a magic shop when I was 18 years old. And you see some demonstrators literally just read the instructions. Okay, count down 12 cards and then turn it over. Now that's your card. You make it fun. You make it personable. You put a little bit of spice of your own life in there. There's nothing like it, man. Nothing like it. Yeah.
This is the first time we've spoken, but I feel like I know you both just through the podcast and, you know, what you present and share. Yeah,
well, we're pretty open. I mean, I'd say 99% we tell you everything. We keep a little back, not to hurt anybody's feelings sometimes. Right. But, you know, we're open books, man. Yeah, ask us anything. Ask us anything. So, Joel, what is we have 6 minutes left. No, we don't. We have more than that. No, we have 6 minutes left. Yeah. Tell me your website. Tell me your Facebook. Tell me all this stuff. What do you got? Where can we see
Yes, please. Thanks for letting me give myself a plug here. JD's World of Magic on Facebook is where I keep people updated. I'm not currently on Instagram, and I'm not great with the technology side of things, but JD's World of Magic on Facebook, I'll do my best to keep that updated. Also, the website is www.jd, just little j, little d, the number 4, the numeral 4, magic.com. And that's the best place to find out about myself and what I'm up to.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I saw you on one of your videos do a dove production with the white silk scarf, and I had that when I was 18 years old, and I never could use it. I saw you use it. I think James DeMary use it, but boy, you walked out. I just don't feel like I'd be confident enough to have that thing on my shoulders and produce a dove. You made it look good, yeah.
And, thank you so much. Thank you.
And the dove bag, where you put your hands through it and ring it. Look great, man. Golly, I loved it. Once again, I own that. I have that. Never have used it. It just, no. You made it look good, dude. You're a great dove worker.
I appreciate it, Wes. Thanks so much.
No, hey, I'm loving the videos. Send me stuff. We have the Facebook podcast group, so send me videos. I'll put links to you and all that stuff up there. I don't know. So we have a couple more minutes. I want to fill up all the time here. The fire cage. You had a fire cage. I remember Pendragon's doing that. What other large illusions do you have?
Oh, if we got a few minutes, I'll tell you a funny story about a Santa Claus production. A coal company came to me and said, we want to make Santa Claus appear at our kids' Christmas party, but it's outdoors and surrounded, you know, in sunlight. And so that's very challenging. I don't want to give too much away, but as a magician, you understand that kids go nuts as soon as they see Santa Claus. So to get him into position and hide him and get him into this outdoor arena, as they're all sitting up on a grandstand, is very difficult. But we built I think it's called the Blammo box, or the Doves to Rabbit trick, where you throw the Santa costume in the front, pull off the lid, and he stands up and rings his bell and ho, ho, ho. Yes. And I said, I want to have a rehearsal with Santa, or Santa's helper. The real Santa couldn't make it. But Santa's helper, on the morning of the show when there are no kids around. I don't want to spoil this for anyone, but I need to have a rehearsal with your Santa. And the coal company said, yeah, of course, that's fine. And they paid to have the box built months ahead. So I had the box built. I had my rehearsal with Santa scheduled the morning of the show. And a lovely gentleman, but an older gentleman, who had just had his knees done. He had 2 titanium knees and couldn't squat. Didn't they tell you what was involved? And he said, no. Somehow we got him in the box, in position. And I went to pull up the flap and the lid, as you know how it happens. And he said, you can't do that. I've got claustrophobia. So they gave me a Santa with 2 titanium knees and claustrophobia. And it's very awkward because he didn't pay his fee for the gig. And I've charged for the gig, and I've had this box built for the gig, which they've already paid for in advance. So this older gentleman does Santa a lot, and he had multiple sets of the Santa Claus suit. So we got a second set of his Santa Claus suit from home. My father, Steve, who was with me being the roadie, dressed up as Santa. He came out of the box, and he'd forgotten his bag of toys, so he had to run behind the tent and grab the bag of toys. He switched with this old guy who was meant to be Santa in the box, and it all worked fine. And this old guy's wife, who had been watching the whole thing with the kids up in the grandstand, said to me later, "It's not like him to forget things." So she'd missed the dad and all the chaos that had gone on. And we all kept smiling, but what a stressful situation.
You know, I was thinking, okay,
Wow.
we'll go to an elf. We'll get somebody as an elf, and the elf will go get Santa or something. But no, you made it work.
Yeah.
I was thinking your dad being younger, more agile, it wouldn't fool anybody because he's running off stage. The other guy's limping. But if it fooled the wife, you pulled it off.
Yes.
Dude. You did it.
Yeah.
You did it.
That's awesome.
And Dad went with a bit of a hobble, like the old guy had moved. You know,
That's great. That's awesome.
he was imitating him.
Oh, that's perfect.
So something, talking about Paul Daniels earlier. Paul Daniels used to have that box built every Christmas. Do you know that story? Do you know that story?
No, he had it in his garage, did he? And he charged them to have it built every year.
He would tell them, hey, you want me to produce Santa? No, that's going to cost you $3,000 more because I have to build a custom box. Okay. And he just pull it out. We custom built this.
My goodness.
He said I put some extra paint on it. I put some new paint on it so it didn't look old. But I sold that same trunk 50 times.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He did some stuff, man. Yeah.
That's
Crazy.
funny.
Dude, that's an hour, man. It flew by.
Wow.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for getting up at, 4 a.m. to be here with us. Thank you.
It's all good. Thank you. I've really enjoyed it. The time has flown, Wes. Thank you.
What else do I have to say? Only thing we have left to say is see you next week.
Check us out online at wesiseli.com and patreon.com/Wes_Iseli for behind-the-scenes videos, blooper videos, never-before-seen footage, discounts on merchandise, magic trick tutorials, and more. That's Wes Iseli, spelled W-E-S-I-S-E-L-I.